Well, when it rains, it pours. We have my wife's car in here today. Her Pacifica. It's an 08 with the 4.0. It's leaking coolant. You can see down here at the bottom of the timing cover. She'd been smelling coolant for just a little while. You know, of course, whenever I'd look at it, it's not leaking anywhere. It was not leaking here before. But today, whenever she came home taking our kids to school, I walked by the car, and yeah, you could smell coolant really bad. And sure enough, it was wet all under the car, just sprayed back. So this ain't a bad job. It's fairly well simple. We bought this car probably, of course we bought it used. It had a lot of miles on it, but it ran great. The people we got it from said that they had the timing belt and water pump changed. I don't know, that may be true. I never looked. The tensioner looks like it's been replaced. The timing belt tensioner. But you never know how some people are, you know. They'll just change the timing belt and not do the water pump, which is nonsense, but hey, that's the way some shops are. They'll do just a little bit to fix the problem, but other things that are there that you should change at the same time, they won't change it, because whenever that fails, you'll bring it back, and then they have that job to do. You know, sure, it makes them more money. It's just a shitty way of doing things. I don't do that, but you know, that costs me money in the long run, but I keep a customer longer. At least that's how I think. I could be wrong. Everybody has their own opinions, but that's the way I do it. So anyway, all you got to do on these cars is get the piece that's down here on the bottom, the trim piece, which is that. Get the trim piece off. Get the balancer off, or well, you got to pull the belt and then take the belt tensioner off. It lives here, and then you can get the crankshaft pulley, the harmonic balancer off. After that, you got to move up top. You have to take the power steering pump loose, swing it out of the way, because if you can see here, the pulley is in the way of that bolt. This one up here. I know you can't see. There we go. How about that? That bolt up there. And then once you get it out of the way, then you could start getting part of the cover off. So I'm a little bit pressed for time. My wife has to use the car, and I've got other work backed up, so I've got to get this done quick. So let me get started up top. All right, moving up top, all you got to do is get the air intake off. You have the intake temperature sensor, which is right here on the 4 liters. You take the top part of the airbox off at the throttle body, which is over here. You have the intake hose that goes here. Take the lid off, and the bottom part of the box where its filter is, you have one bolt that holds it on, and the rest are just those push grommets that go there and there. That's where that bolt is at the front. Pull the bottom part of the airbox off. Go ahead and stick a jack under the oil pan just to hold it in place. And you got 2 bolts here for the motor mount, one there, one there. Get these 3 off, then you can take the motor mount off. Alternator you don't touch. You can take this pulley off if you want to. I don't think it really matters. I can't remember. But actually, yeah, of course you got to get it off, because you have to get this bolt off the backside. Let's see what else. Then you can get to the bolts that hold the power steering pump to the block. Get to it through these holes that's in the pulley. You're not taking the pump all the way off. All you're doing is unbolting it, and it just swings out of the way of the front. You can use a ratchet strap, or not a ratchet strap, like a bungee cord, just something just to wedge it forward. That way you can get to this cover. Get all the bolts out. Bolts out for that, and you can actually get all the bolts off for the main black part of the timing cover. So that's where we are. Alright, motor mount's out of the way. This is the bracket. There's a small bracket that goes under here, left to right, which is this one. It sits in there just like this. It's offset to the top. Okay, you're gonna have that. Now let me show you. I took the power steering pump loose. This is all it has to do. Once you take it loose, it just droops over. It goes from about up here to down here. That's it. That's it. It just has to move out of the way, because basically this pulley covers up the edge of the cover, this bolt, and this bolt it covers up. So now all we have left are a series of 10mm bolts, 2 Torx bolts that are down here, and this bolt right over here, this stud. That's it. The timer cover comes off. This part, then we'll take this section off. This comes off behind it. So, easy peasy. All right, got the main cover off. Water pump's definitely leaking. They did replace, whomever, that shop, they did replace the timing belt. They did replace the water pump and the tensioner and the guide, or not the guide, but the pulley and the hydraulic tensioner. They did replace that. But I don't know what brand it is. Maybe some online. No, I'll tell you what, that's a Gates belt. That's a Gates brand belt. I don't know about the water pump. So let's see. Right under the bottom of the pump. She's wet. So it's leaking out of, it's actually leaking out of the seal, from the seal. Because these are just a rubber seal that goes between the pump and the block. So yeah, she's wet there. You can see on this cover, it was slinging coolant everywhere. So I'm just gonna put a new belt and a new pump, you know, new timing belt kit altogether, getting it through O'Reilly's. I don't know what brand. It's not a Gates. I believe it's a Murray. So it's their cheaper brand, but I mean it's gonna work. It's gonna be fine. Besides, it's my wife's car. It'd be okay. So anyway. Alright, I'm going to get this other cover loose, and I already got the coolant drained as much as it would come out of the radiator, but we're still going to have coolant whenever I pop this, pull the water pump off. So collect a little coolant at the bottom and set it in time, pull the belt off, and get the pump out of the way. Well, I got the old pump off. New parts are in. I'm starting to put the new pump on. Here's what I found. Here's the old pump. See this casting, 5514. Remember I pulled the old belt off, it was a Gates belt. Here's the kit that they sell through O'Reilly's, Murray. There's the part number, 24527K. Here's the new tensioner. It's exactly the same. Everything's exactly the same. The new kit comes with a brand new Gates belt, T295. And the casting on the water pump, and you can't see it, but anyway, it's 5514. Same exact pump. So that is the same kit that the shop before installed. So I mean, it's just something wrong with the seal. I don't know. The seal looked fine, but that's where it was coming from. The bolts were torqued down good. Well, no, yeah, it looks fine. It was leaking right here at the bottom. It is flat. Right in this area, it's totally flat, and over here it's ridged. So that's where it was leaking from. But anyway, guess what? It doesn't really matter. It's got to go on. So I'm gonna finish it on up. Well, I got the water pump and timing belt on. Had a little bit of an issue. Well, I'm not gonna say it's an issue. It's just something that you run into that you have to deal with. The timing it was off about half a tooth. Okay, I had ran into that on several of the 3.5s and the 4 liters, multiple years. You know, it's just what happens. You'll be about half a tooth off. You could be advanced or retarded. You want it to be advanced. About half a tooth off on the rear bank. Right now it's you can't see dead on it, but anyway, it's lined up. Front cam's lined up, and then the crankshaft way down at the bottom's lined up. The reason for that is, well, one way you can compensate for it is to loosen the water pump bolts just slightly, and then put the belt on as normal, and line up your marks. Get your tensioner on, and whenever you do that, then tighten down the water pump bolts, because you can get to every single one of them, even with the belt in place. And the pump will ever so slightly move up, and that's all it takes. And then your marks line up perfect. So don't let it bug you too much. Don't be stuck on it. That's just what happens, and that's how you remedy it. You know, what causes it? I don't know, maybe it's just the different tolerances whenever they machine the water pumps. I don't know, aftermarket ones. Maybe a little slight difference in belt thickness. I don't know, that's a possibility also. But either way, it doesn't really matter. That's how you deal with it. Well, got her finished up. Bleeding the coolant now. Runs great, no leaks. Should be done here here shortly. Very easy job. Anybody can do it. Well, guess that's it for today. I do have other things. I might record some, I may not. I don't know, we'll see. Catch y'all next time. Like, share, subscribe.